What we do to start with in our course is, when people first arrive, to sit for 5 minutes giving directions and not doing anything, doing very much underlined, before we go into the usual activities in our course of sitting, standing, lying down, walking, crawling, etc. So this is the period where people sit and just give directions. After this period of not doing, the teachers go around giving people what we call turns. A turn is a short bit of an Alexander lesson, doing whatever the teacher feels inclined, and helping the pupil, of course, to attend to their direction in whatever they're doing. Chair in the middle, haven't I? Would you like to start, Dave? Oh, no, yes, come and sit. Start here. And with experienced pupils like our students, one does very much less talking. With a beginner, I would describe what I'm doing with my hands, such as, now I want you to think of freeing the neck and allow your head forward and up, and give them the directional experience with my hands. Then go on with that direction and think of your back lengthening and widening. At the same time, releasing the shoulders and letting them spread out. And we rehearse those directions again. Freeing the neck, forward and up, back to lengthen and widen, and let the knees and hips bend until we reach the chair. Good. Think of the knees extending out of the hips. And let the hands rest on the leg, freeing the arms, fingers, wrist. Now, usually with a very new pupil, I'd be working on them, working in the sense of transmitting directions through my hands for possibly a minute or two before I stood them up again. But with Dave, I'm going to get him standing up. Now to stand up, Dave, think no. And to free the neck. Think of the back lengthening and widening. Direct the knees forward and away. And instead of standing up the usual way, I'm going to ask you to come back against my arm, freeing the neck, letting the back lengthen and widen, to come back, and go on coming back as I take you up. That's it. Good. The idea there being to help the pupil not think of standing up, because coming back against my arm is quite different and gives them a better chance of going on with their direction. So I think I've done enough with you, Dave. Oh yes, I haven't said that. Well, naturally I wanted to be thinking about the directions that I'm verbalizing for them and assisting them with my hands to direct themselves. One thing we miss out in a demonstration of this sort is it all becomes much too serious. Lindsay's usually good at smiling, but may not be able to in this situation.
I'm inhibiting.
That's right. Now we're going to sit down and you think, no. Going to release the neck, allow the head forward and back. Lindsay's a professional singer, so she's used to the glare of publicity. Yes, he thought then, somebody once asked him what a whispered R is good for, and he said what you should ask is what they're not good for. A very important total pattern of breathing, speech, and which we're doing most of the time, more or less interfering at FM's history. Now we're going to sit down and you think, no, you thought 20% of the time. Free the neck, the back lengthen and widen, back, back, and knees forward and away. Good. And what I'm doing is going round the directions, hopefully at the same time as the pupil, who is also maintaining all the other directions. Directions to the head and neck, directions to the back, the shoulders, the chest, and the legs. And it's important for the pupil not to be concentrating on what the teacher's hands are doing, but going on with their directions elsewhere. With experienced pupils, one does much less talking because they're used to giving the directions in sequence and can be expected to do that. And they've had considerable experience of the teacher's hands on them. So they're able to leave themselves free to respond to the direction in the teacher's hands. That's nice. Now we're going to stand up and you think no. It's important to think no, as everybody knows, because otherwise one triggers off the old pattern. And thinking no to oneself stops one's response, which the idea of standing up immediately starts. So no to standing up in the old way. Instead, think of freeing the neck. Think of the back lengthening and widening. And like Dave, come back gently against my arm and let me take you up. Good. And go on with the direction through the end so as not to arrive at the old standing position. But go on thinking of freeing the neck, letting the back lengthen and widen, allowing the ribs to work freely. And to walk away, think no. I think I'll take you on your toes first. And to go up on the toes, think no. And to free the neck. And to let the back lengthen and widen. Come back gently against my hands. Let that take you up. And let the heels down. When people succeed in going on with their directions for that simple activity, it gets their back working, which is usually described as lengthening and widening. And is a foundation, of course, for moving around and walking, which we're about to do. And Lindsay's going to walk away, and she thinks no. She's going to free her neck. Let her back lengthen and widen. Go on with that to walk.
All right. So back. And we can try that this way. So you just let your back come back there. That's one part. Let your back come back there. That's it. Right, now from there, do you want to go on to all forward? And watch the freeing the neck here. Freeing the neck. And allowing the ribs, that's it, expand. Okay, we need to free the neck to come up onto all fours. Again, watching the head and neck. That's it. And allowing the ribs to expand and contract. That's it. Come back onto your... Don't trip over my... That's it. Right up onto your knees. So now you're going to think of letting the neck be free. Just let your back come back and let your knees bend a little. And hinge from the hips, that's the way. And just go on letting the knees bend the shape more, that's it. And as you put your hands on the table, lengthening the fingers and the thumb, freeing the wrist, directing the lower arm away from the wrist and towards the elbow, directing the upper arm from the shoulder towards the elbow, at the same time freeing the neck, allowing the back to come back there, and repeating the same on the other side. You can all be practicing your directions, carrying out this activity, but thinking of freeing the neck, of lengthening the fingers, freeing the wrists, and widening across the upper part of the chest and the upper part of the arm.
Make contact with the palm.
And make good contact with the palm as you lengthen the fingers and hand on the table. Feeling the wrists are free as you direct, and watching that you're not tightening the ankles or the knees or the hips as you free the neck. Right, and don't stay there too long. Free the neck to take the hands off. That's it, and free the neck to straighten up again. And these such activities, putting hands on the backs of chairs or on the table or on the wall as we were doing the other day, are all very good preparation for using the hands when you're giving lessons to pupils. Right. Roz, come, we'll do on the wall a bit of variation. All right. So just let the knees go a little. That's it. So just the same, you go on freeing the neck, lengthening and widening the back to put your hand on the wall, watching all the time that you direct into the back. That's it, so you go on. That's it, and again directing towards the elbows, and just move your hands up the wall, watching you don't pull the back in. That's it, and feel free to explore the various positions on the wall, watching you don't interfere with the breathing. That's it. Just let the knees go a little more. That's it. That's it, directing. All right, Roz? Okay, and bring the hands down as you free the neck. And straighten the knees and straighten the hips. Right. Contract and expand. Go on freeing the neck. And let your knees bend a little. Don't tighten the hips. That's it. Let the knees bend a little more. That will do. That's it. And just think of freeing the wrists. Watch. And lengthen the fingers. Make good contact with the palms on the table. That's it. Think of coming into the back. Going on, freeing your wrists, directing out of the wrist to the elbow. That's it. Allow the ribs to expand and contract. And you direct your elbows into my hand. That's it. Right. Now to take the hands off, go on freeing the neck, letting your back come back to take the hands off. Go on with that to straighten the hips and straighten the hips. That's it. That's about it. I'm getting too hot. That's it. Just watch. And then that's